Today is the 20th Sunday of Ordinary Time, Cycle C. When Jerusalem was under siege by the Babylonians, Jeremiah predicted his nation's defeat and advised the king to pray to God for repentance and to surrender. Jeremiah also refused to pray for an Israelite victory. For being truthful, he was accused of being unpatriotic, destroying the morale of the army, and abdicating his duty to pray for the people. Unwillingly to publicly execute Jeremiah, the leaders decided to leave him in an empty cistern to die. God, used Ebed-Melech, a non-Jew and an advisor to the king, to rescue Jeremiah from the cistern. After they defeated the Jews, the Babylonians made the king, who was blind to the truth, literally blind. They burnt his eyes out with a hot iron rod. God remained faithful to Jeremiah, whom he had promised to protect from his enemies, provided he remained faithful to preaching the truth in spite of threats to his life. It is believed that Jeremiah escaped to Egypt. What are some of the truths we are afraid to confront? The sanctity of life. Life begins at conception. A fertilized human egg called a zygote has all the DNA of a human person. After fertilization, all that happens is nutrition and growth. Secondly, the church believes in marriage and disapproves of cohabitation. What do we teach our children? We have taken prayer out of schools, but have never replaced the teaching of values which came with the religion. Now our children believe right and wrong is dependent on how they feel. Like Israel, the prosperity of a nation is dependent on our faithfulness to the teachings of Christ. Yet our nation is guilty of greed, corruption, and every type of sexual sin, and do not fear punishment from God. The Blessed Virgin Mary tells us that the wages of sin is war. Fathers who do not live with their children have a duty to mentor and support their children regardless of government's assistance. Why are only a few people speaking out about this problem when it is well established that males who are neglected by their fathers are more likely to become delinquent? 90% of males in jail have no relationships with their fathers. In the gospel, Christ predicts his own baptism of fire, his passion, and cruel death. Jesus' act of unconditional love inaugurated his kingdom of peace and justice on earth. We are to model this love to others and to enlighten them with his teachings. Jesus did not come to divide the family, which is the most important social unit in our time. However, greed and selfishness and overreaching ambition can destroy even the closest bonds. Our nation fought a civil war over the abolition of slavery, brother against brother. For those in the South, the loss of wealth and power, which was the gain from the system of slavery, blinded them from the moral evil they practice. How would you behave if to accept the truth or stop an unjust practice, you would go up against something against your self-interest, like the loss of your job and or the loss of your property. The Bible recommends that you give 10% of your income to recognized charities or to the poor or needy. This is regardless of whether or not there's also government assistance. Honor your mother and your father requires also taking care of your parents in their old age. To build a society of peace and justice, we have to eliminate greed, bribery, and corruption. Those who embrace these selfish values are usually rich and powerful and will not change voluntarily. They will try to silence the truth, first by lies, and then by killing the bearers of the truth. If you are faithful to the gospel, you will face challenges, even bodily harm. But the flame of truth can never be extinguished. Stand up and defend what you believe. Speak up. With God at our side, we can change the world. The gates of hell will never prevail against the church.